Reddit stock just posted one of its most explosive sessions since going public, closing Friday up more than 17%, or roughly $27. This move comes right after a post-earnings after-hours surge Thursday night that already had traders buzzing. And now, with the dust just beginning to settle, we're left with a key question: what happens next? Because yes, this rally was driven by phenomenal earnings, but we're also seeing strong signals that the movement behind Reddit stock is just as much about emotion and narrative as it is about numbers. So let's break down how we got here, what's happening beneath the surface, and what to watch going forward as this thing either cools off or kicks into another gear. So, to recap quickly, Reddit's Q2 earnings were a knockout. The company reported 45 cents earnings per share versus Wall Street estimates of just 19 cents. That's more than double the expectation. Revenue came in at $500 million, again, well ahead of consensus, which was sitting around $426 million. That's a year-over-year jump of 78%. And on top of that, ad revenue was up 84%. That's a staggering number, especially in a digital advertising landscape that's been mixed for many players. Daily active users came in at just over 110 million, with international growth leading the charge at over 30%. Reddit is becoming a global platform, and the increase in user activity was supported by impressive expansion in their AI tools. Specifically, Reddit Answers, an AI-driven feature that turns comment threads into summarized, easy-to-digest replies, saw weekly user growth explode from 1 million to 6 million in a single quarter. Now, these are incredible numbers, and the rally is certainly supported by this strong performance. But as always in the stock market, the reaction matters just as much as the results themselves. And what we saw was a massive wave of buying, not just from institutions responding to the earnings beat, but from retail traders who piled in heavily as Reddit started trending online. It's ironic, but very fitting, that Reddit stock was blowing up across Reddit communities like our Wall Street Bets and our stocks. The sentiment on these forums was overwhelmingly bullish, with some calling this the start of Reddit's AI growth era. That meme-driven psychology, paired with real, tangible performance, is a powerful cocktail. And it's one of the reasons this stock didn't just spike and fade. It held up in after hours. It opened strong Friday. And then it kept climbing. The price action showed conviction. You could see the volume surging, the bids holding, and the momentum traders staying involved. This wasn't a sell the news event, it was a confirmation breakout. But now that we're here, trading near $190 per share, we have to ask, is the move over, or is this just the first leg? Let's look at what could keep pushing Reddit higher from here. First, the forward guidance. Reddit didn't just beat the current quarter, they guided above expectations for Q3, with revenue projections between $535 and $545 million. That's substantially above analyst estimates of around $473 million. When a company beats earnings and then tells you the next quarter is going to be even better, it tends to act like rocket fuel for the stock. Next, there's the potential for index inclusion. Reddit is still relatively new to the public market, but if this kind of volume and market cap growth continues, it could find itself added to major indices like the Russell or even the S&P 500 in the future. That would force funds to buy the stock just to stay in line with their benchmarks, creating passive demand that adds another layer of support beneath the price. There's also the matter of what Reddit has become. It's no longer just a quirky social network. It's evolving into a serious player in the AI-enhanced search and engagement space. Their platform is built on rich, user-generated content. That makes it incredibly valuable for training AI models and serving targeted, high-conversion ads. Their decision to license data to companies like OpenAI was just the beginning. Reddit is now positioning itself as a bridge between online communities and artificial intelligence, and that's a narrative the market is hungry for. But here's where we need to pause. Because while all of that is bullish, we've also seen how quickly sentiment can turn, especially with stocks that catch fire among retail traders. A 17% single-day move is massive. Not every investor is going to hold through that. Some early bulls are likely looking at their screens right now thinking, okay, maybe it's time to take profits. And that's completely fair. With these kinds of gains, there's often a second act, either a sharp pullback, a healthy consolidation, or a quick retest of support levels. Another point worth watching is whether Reddit issues new shares. This has happened with other meme-fueled rallies. Companies like AMC, GameStop, and even Opendoor have used surges in their stock price as opportunities to raise capital. Now, I'm not saying Reddit will do that tomorrow, but the company might look at this newfound valuation and decide it's a great time to pad the balance sheet. If that happens, it could create short-term selling pressure and change the sentiment a bit. There's also macro risk. The broader tech sector has been on a choppy ride lately. Interest rate fears, geopolitical tension, and economic uncertainty are still very much in play. If we get a market-wide pullback, even strong names like Reddit could be dragged down temporarily. So, while Reddit might have decoupled from broader trends for now, it doesn't mean it's immune to macro shocks. But maybe the most important thing to watch in the short term is volume. Volume tells the story. If Reddit opens next week with strong volume, holds its gains, and starts building a base at these higher levels, that's a great sign. It suggests new buyers are still coming in and that the rally isn't just a short squeeze or a flash in the pan. On the other hand, if volume dries up and the stock starts slipping below key levels, say around 175, that could indicate that the momentum is fading and a reset is coming. So, what does the next move look like? Well, there are 3 scenarios to consider. First, Reddit continues higher. Maybe we see a brief pause, but then buyers step in again and drive it toward 200 or even beyond. That would require strong sentiment to hold, more good news on the AI or partnership front, and maybe even a little help from the overall market. Second, the stock consolidates. It trades sideways for a bit, forms a base, and allows some of the hype to cool while fundamentals continue to improve. This would be the healthier scenario, allowing both bulls and bears to reassess without extreme volatility. And third, Reddit gives back some of the gains. That doesn't mean it crashes, but maybe it retraces 10 to 15% and shakes out weak hands. In this case, the next earnings report, or a new catalyst, would be needed to reignite the move. At this point, there's no denying that Reddit has put itself on the map. It's no longer just a forum for memes and debates, it's becoming a growth story in its own right. Between the user growth, ad expansion, AI push, and potential index inclusion, it's attracting serious attention from investors who may not have taken it seriously before. But rallies like this don't last forever without fuel. And that's what the next few weeks will be about. Can Reddit sustain the energy it built up this week? Or will it fade, only to regroup later? Let me know in the comments. Are you buying this rally, holding, or looking to take some profits? And where do you think Reddit stock is heading next? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.